Hey, what's up, Liron here. Today I want to share with you this self-portrait that I did, that you may have seen at a different place or here on YouTube, and talk a bit about its significance to where I'm headed with watercolor, some insights, and show you some pictures of the process. So without further ado, let's get to it. So we'll keep this one fairly to the point. I just kind of want to share with you again, some of the process and some of the things that I've gone through with this painting. I just want to give a quick intro. I've been feeling for a long time that I want to produce something more impressive. I found myself doing a lot of smaller, quicker paintings, and the creative muscles crave for a change at times. And I really just wanted something I can sink myself into, do a couple of sessions, and really put a lot of care into. And self-portrait seemed like a good choice because a lot of people have been wanting a proper one. It's good to practice seeing the nuances of the face and how it's structured. There's this guy on YouTube, Misulbu, some of you have been contacting me about. He does portraits. He's a Korean, I believe. He does portraits that are spectacular, and it's something to aspire to, and I wanted to do something similar, really put in the effort, and I really needed it like a breath of fresh air, and this was what this painting was all about. I just want to show you the paints I've been using are Roman SZMAL'S. I actually kept these just to remember the pigments, but this is, I believe it's called the Aquarius line, again by Roman SZMAL'S. These were sent to me a while ago, and they're really good quality, very interesting paints, and as you can see here up close, I think they look terrific. I did add a bit of yellow ochre because I always have to have a bit of yellow ochre, but these paints were just great fun, and I'm happy to use them a little more. I've been using them just a bit here and there in the past, but I did want to use them for something a little more extensive. Now, in terms of the process, and I will put into the side or somewhere here some of the stages. The drawing stage I traced. I have no problems saying it. My focus here really was on the painting technique, so I simply put my paper on my computer monitor and traced it. I wanted to get a very clear, sharp, accurate sketch. Basically what I did when I traced is tracing the lines of light and shadow, and for areas with gradual transitions I use this kind of a dashed line just to show that it's not a clear cut, just hard transition, but rather a softer one. And this is what gives this a lot of the interest and the understanding of the different shapes. Then I went on with the first wash, and what I wanted to achieve there was these smoother transitions of overall having this as a slightly darker area here as well, putting some of the very small and quick details on the beard and then some of those things, but still keeping it fairly loose. It was important for me just to get some gradual transitions as much as I can, so that I don't have to create everything on the second wash, because that's extremely complex. You want to be able to get these softer transitions getting really started. Then the next stage, which is probably this final stage, I don't have a lot of pictures of that part. All I did was work in sections for all of the shaded areas. By the way, the hair, a big part of it was to get these wet and wet so that I can avoid overwork. In the grand scheme of things, it works really well. So I put in this medium value wash, and then I went with a very thick paint and put it there so that it stayed where I put it. And that way I could create the major shapes of the hair and the curls without going into too many details. Because if I would have had this mess, quote unquote, in the hair, it would throw things off balance. It's enough that I have it here. I don't need all of these specific lines here. So that was another key point to this. I then pulled, I started actually with the eye here, establishing this kind of a shape the way I see it, with taking care of the edges. So here it's a very sharp edge, but here it's a bit more well blended. It's really important to get these edges right. And then I continued from the hair and put this big shape of shadow. It wasn't easy, I'm not gonna lie, because if you look at it, it's just one big shape all throughout the face. What I did was actually go like this, clockwise, starting here, top, going bottom, rendering all of the edges the way I need them, moving on and varying the temperature a bit. You see a lot more blue in the shadow here, a lot more coolness there. Moved it all the way around and right back into this area, and that way I did it. Tried in the first few washes to really merge a lot of the areas, but the key here, if I'm being honest with you, to producing this kind of result, which I think is kind of emblematic of where I'm headed, where I want to be with the quality of my paintings, and I will talk about it more face-to-face when we wrap this up, is really being careful in each and every stage. It's not so much about the skill as it is more about the careful planning and the careful execution. To me, what made the difference here was really taking my time in between stages, in between washes, in between areas to really know what I'm going to do, exactly where I'm going to put the paint. Being very calculated, knowing when I'll have to use wet and wet, when I'll be able to let it dry and then continue. The focus and the deliberateness and planning really does all the difference in a way here. It's not so much about the skill. So I would argue that you can, let's say you rank your skill from 1 to 10, I'd argue you can take it at least 1 to 2 numbers up by purely being a little more focused and a little more deliberate. Okay, now obviously to get things right, you need to have the proper technique and experience and, you know, control water, wet and wet properly and all of that good stuff. That just comes with painting a lot. That's the really only way of improving it. Notice I did keep some areas a little open, a little less defined, because this is so much in the edge of the painting that there was no reason to go into detail here. But in any case, now let's wrap it up face to face, and I will give a few more words about where I'm headed with watercolor. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the painting up close. I can give you an even closer look here with my phone camera. What I will say is, this is all a balancing act. One time you may feel like you really need the quickness and to not dive super deep in a painting and really, you know, wreck your brain around how to do things and just go very spontaneous. Other times you will crave this. Now I'm trying to just listen to what my intuition and my artistic desire tells me to do, which the product of that is this painting. I do see myself in the long-term future, trying to aim more for works like these, kind of prioritizing planning and some careful elements over perhaps just spontaneity. I love the spontaneity. It serves me really well in a variety of different subjects. Plein air, it's very useful. But I do feel like I want to increase a little bit percentage-wise the amount of paintings that I do that have this quality to them. And really, I think this is me kind of reaching up really hard, trying to grab onto the quality I know my art should be in at this point. So if I feel like this is where I'm at most of the time, this was me just really reaching out and grabbing that level. So I do aspire to have the baseline be that, okay? There's still a long way to go. I'm very happy with this one. I'm very happy with my work. I'm happy with where it's at, but I just want to give you kind of a real-life example of how you see these improvements and how you strive forward. And sometimes it may require you to change phase a bit, to switch gears, to do something a little different. It may be the other way around for you, and I know a lot of people have this issue, diving way too deep on the details, not seeing the overall picture. And I'm not gonna lie, as much as this one I tried aiming for accuracy, I did need to go a little looser on the first washes and seeing the entire picture, knowing where to put the larger wet areas of light and shadow. So there was obviously some of that skill as well. But in any case, I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you're enjoying the How to Simplify course. Again, new episode this Saturday. I'll keep dripping them. I believe by I guess a matter of a week or two, I should have the full courses on Udemy so you can actually watch the entirety of the lessons. I'm not in a hurry because I know a lot of people actually prefer that dripping format, and it takes time to edit the video, so my apologies if you were hoping to binge watch through the entire course. But in any case, thank you so much. If your issue is not simplifying, but rather letting go and enjoying the process and painting freely, be sure to check out the frustration-free watercolor course. As always, the link is in the description box below. This is really more for that earlier stage where you feel just stifled, glued to the details, and unable to just kind of let that go and really enjoy yourself and paint freely. If you're more the pure kind of, I just need to learn how to simplify, stay tuned because the How to Simplify course will obviously cover that. But in any case, thank you so much. We'll now wrap it up. I will catch you again in the next video real soon.